It's been such a long time, it feels, since I was chatting to you last. And what a month it's been. Summer has just not arrived here in the UK. It's like the middle of winter. There's a thick, dark cloud hanging over me today. So I just thought I'm going to get back on here and show you what I've been stitching, because I've been doing so much because we just haven't been able to enjoy any sunshine or be outside. The one fabulous day of the year where it was really, really hot was a lot of fun, because it was just great timing, because it was the night I went to see the Foo Fighters playing at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Me and Topsy went. I took her as a summer treat, and we went and saw them play in the stadium. We went into town in the afternoon and all the streets were closed. The whole of Cardiff had just come to a halt, which for a capital city is pretty cool actually. And all the streets were closed, the bars were open, and everyone was just filling the streets with a pint and listening to the music. We bought some of the merch. I've got my t-shirt on to show you. So the tour was called Everything or Nothing at All, and it pretty much played the big venues in the UK, and then it went on to a place in France, I think, and maybe Poland after that. But it was such an amazing concert. We had a lot of fun, and it's my guilty pleasure actually, some heavy music. Otherwise I'm a pretty soft person. But yeah, I've done so much stitching. But before we get started, I need to say a few thank yous. So please bear with me. Everyone has been so kind. I've had so many comments again, an amazing number of comments. I've tried to reply to you all, or at least heart them all. But a few people called me out on their channels, and it's so kind of them to do so. Mama Loves You GB, of course, Michelle, who I've known over the years and I was lucky enough to meet once on a retreat. She was so gracious and kind to call me out. And Celeste Creates, who I've followed and kind of fangirled for years. Penny's daughter Shares, Michelle, you'll remember all her fabulous smalls that she makes. I haven't seen a Flosstube from her for a long time, but she sent me a lovely note. And then there was a lady called Stitching Scotty, who was very sweet and seemed to go on a lot of American retreats. And then Stitch Bead, Audrey gave me a shout out, and I didn't really know Audrey, but wow, I'm a big fan. And I'm an avid follower of her, trying to catch up on her Flosstubes now. And then Cross Stitch Sarah from the UK, and Sally, Flossie Sews and Grows. She does a lot of stitch alongs with her friend, Sew Me Sarah. And then a lady called the Stone Magpie called me out, and Salty Stitcher, Hoop It Up with Jan, Laurie Once Upon a Stitch, Fibers and Floss, who you may know from Samantha the Hygge Stitcher. It's her friend. They've done a few Flosstubes together. She's terribly talented at making portfolios and all that sort of thing. And lots of lovely stitching from them. I think they're Canadian actually. And then Scald Spain called me out, Gammy Stitcher, Stitch Lit, Hobbies of Holly, who's a lovely sweet lady and has got a stitch along right now on the Blackbird Peppermint and Holly thing with her other friend called Holly. So the two Hollies are doing a Christmas stitch. How appropriate. And her friend is called Mrs. Jones, who's done a fantastic review of all the Blackbird books that she's got. And wow, what a collection she's got. And then this group called the Thread Gremlins called me out. Well, if you're not following them, you should go and give them a try, because they are going to Lindy Stitch's Midsummer online retreat. They've got a table, 3 crazy young mums. What are they called? Elizabeth, Caroline and Amy. And they've got some really, traditional sampler type stitches, some Blackbird, but they've also got a lot of crazy things like kits of old clowns and things. And so they've got a stitch along at the moment called Bring Your Kits Out, Sal. Bring Out Your Kit, Sal. It just makes me laugh. And the children are sort of locked in the other room while they're doing their Flosstubes, and every now and again a small child will venture out and say, "Are you ready now, Mum? Can we come out now, Mum?" And no one says anything, but they're sort of like shut behind the door. Oh, I miss those days, but I remember them so well. and good for them, you know, trying their best to carry on stitching. My chair's sinking, I can feel it crashing. So what have I been stitching on in the last month? Oh, first of all, I had a fabulous finish. So here's my finish. Let me show you the chart. I said it was a one stitch from last time. Grand Old Flag by, of course, by Brenda Gervais, with my needle and thread. Love it, love it. And I cracked on with that pretty much straight away. There was quite a lot of lovely, helpful comments actually that I had from people suggesting to change the thread out. But do you know, the one that a few people had mentioned, I didn't actually have it. And even now, I didn't note down what colour. No, it doesn't say. I can't remember the thread that I used. It was awfully tealy, but actually it's very pretty. Let me show you them individually. I do love it. So although it's not traditionally, you know, red, white and blue for our British flag or American flag, it does, I think, work really nicely. And it's very, very pretty. I think the red was 22. I just can't remember. Was it Milady's Teal? Something like that. So I finished it and put some fabulous backing with a little red dot in the middle. Don't know if you can see that. And some Lady Dot Create vintage rickrack in vintage colour. And this fabric, I was so lucky enough to find it. Again, Peakside had this. She's never had it before. It's called R&R Creme Brulee, and this is 40 count, so it was just my favourite. This is the other little one with the 1776 and the birds, with the lovely backing. And then for a bit of contrast, I did the flag one. I finished it like she did, with a rusty pin and some lovely old vintage beads on a bit of crochet wool lace, crochet cotton even. And then I backed this, I think it might be a Lorry denim called Sprig, but I'm not sure. So anyway, I thought that was nice. And they sit, look how beautifully they sit in my little dish. So my nice grungy little bowl. I got a few of these. Yeah, so that was my finish. And I'll throw in a bit of haul actually that I got. I ran out of the vintage trim. Well, I've only got a little bit left, which made me panic for the next time I want to finish something. And I found this fabulous shop in France. Really quick shipping, really reasonable shipping as well. And, oh, and I've just seen, I've got a chance to win a 20% coupon off my next one. But I've got some different sizes, but actually I went too small. That is crazy small, and probably the middle size would be the one that I'll be using for my small finishes. And the shop was called Kawaii Ribbon from France, and they were ever so kind. On Etsy I think I found them, and they shipped really quickly, and they've got some fabulous, really high quality. The reason I chose them and had to go to France is because it was cotton, and I don't like nylon rickrack, and I know Brenda does specify cotton, and there is a difference. So fussy, but I think worth it. So that was my finish. And then I made best friends. We're now BFFs, me and Charlotte. I call her Lottie now. So you'll have to forgive me, because what I've done is my ostrich, I do this sometimes. If something doesn't go right, I kind of ignore it and carry on. So this is what I've done for Charlotte Warrington, 1838 by Needlework Press. And this was the exclusive with Homespun Needleworks group. And I got the Weeks Dye Works and this lovely thread drop that came with the bag, I think, from Barry. So I should have got the silks, but to be honest, the customs alone for this was so expensive. The silks, it just would have made it crazy. So I'm quite happy with the colours. I think they're very bright and different. But not the ostriches. What are those birds? The peacocks don't show up as well as they should, but I'll deal with those at the end. If they really don't show, I'll backstitch them, because I couldn't pull them out. I tried to have a go and it wasn't working. So I gave up because I thought I was going to damage it. So let me show you what I've done this time. I've done quite a lot more. I've worked really hard on it. I've done, taken the border up here. So I've pretty much done one page out of, I think, 36 or something terrible. But we won't focus on that because this is the heaviest bit, I think, at the bottom with the grass filling. And so I've worked across here and put quite a few more of the cattle. I've forgotten now. When you do them once a month, you forget how you hold things. Yeah, I've done a few more of these cattle, finished the farmer off and the horse and started on the wall here. So, and I've taken the border up and done quite a few more of the flowers, including this curry yellow one, which I finished off. So there's a lot of fill-in here. In fact, I can tell you how much this bright green that most of the grass is called lily pad. And I know I've used a lot because I've actually got it in my book of days, because this is what I like to put instead of sort of buying stickers. I prefer to put in special things, so things that you've bought or little stickers that sometimes come in packets of things that you buy. So whenever I finish a little thing, I just put that in, and it just gives me lovely memories of how hard I worked on Charlotte since I saw you last. I've finished one whole skein now with lily pads and I'm really cracking on with the next. So that's my book of days. Then you'll remember that I had called on Whipgo my Dutch rose garden, and thank you all so much for all the fabulous comments that you sent my way, and 322 people used the word rose. I mean, that just blew my mind. So many people commented that I couldn't use the YouTube random comment picker for free. It was trying to get me to upgrade to premium. I'm too thrifty to do that. I wouldn't do that. So I had to find another tool, which I did, and I recognised that some of the people have used that tool. So when I did run the comment picker, I can tell you now, try and put a photograph in at the end. The lady that got drawn was called Carla, I think you would say Makovich. It's a W-I-C-Z on the end. So I'm pretty sure it's Carla Makovich 6087, 6087. So I'll put a photo in so she knows. She said a lovely comment. Wow, your stitching is just gorgeous. I just love your rose embroidery piece. What a fun project. I really enjoyed your video. Thank you. Happy stitching. How sweet. So I'll be able to post my spare copy of the Dutch Rose Garden off to Carla. If she gets in contact with me either via Instagram or you can email me, I'll try and put a link underneath the video if I ever get to learn how to edit myself. But it's shan.perrington@gmail.com. So my progress in my lovely bag. This is by Val at Patriotic Paw Print. There's her button. I've got quite a few. Look at that fabulous fabric with the old English rose. And I use these little things to tell me what my fabric was. And of course, my little scissor pull with the strawberry cake by Chapel View Crafts, which I've told you about before. I must try and learn how to link all these things below so you know where to go and be enabled for more shopping. So this is by Samplers Not Forgotten, the Dutch Rose Garden, 1849. And I went back in after our Flosstube and eventually finished the entire central motif. So last time I got up to the edge of the pavilion here. I think I'd done a little bit of the green. But this time, oh no, it was this side, it's back to front. This time I came in and did the blossoms in the trees. And yeah, it's just like painting with threads. So pretty, look at that. So, you know, I've got a long way to go. If I show you the chart, how many motifs there are a great number of them yet to go, but the biggest one in the centre now is done. I probably need to try and move across and then pick up the border to get started on that. I don't mind border stitching, and it's just so beautiful. The roses across the top, love, love, love. So that's my Whipgo for last month. Absolutely nailed it. Don't know when I'm going to get back to it, which makes me sad because I've got so many whips. That's the problem. I can't work them all into each month. And then my next whip, you'll remember from last time, that I'm doing 24 and 24, and I call the numbers at the same time as I do Whipgo. And the one that got called last month was by the Scarlet House, and it's Martha Evans from Ystrad Mynach. And this is 1879 by the Scarlet House. Oh, and this is the one that when I was in the attic, I came across the beautiful pack of silk threads just randomly hanging on the side of the wall, had to buy them. So I'm not really a big silk stitcher. This is housed in the bag that I made myself with this lovely sort of Frenchy, oh, excuse the random threads there, on my little needle minder. And yeah, so that's my project bag, and that's the chart. I'm stitching this on 40 count legacy because I'd run out of the needle and flax Hemingway that it called for, which I love. I'll show you the project I'm doing that on when it gets called. But this project I started, and again I kept going because I was enjoying it so much until I had got one page. I think there are 9 pages, maybe 12. Anyway, I've got the bottoms, you know, I always start, I think I'm a bit weird starting in the corner at the bottom, but then again, is the light showing this at, well, if I put the lights on the camera. But look at the colours of the silk. I mean, they're just incredible. It actually looks a lot better than the photograph, and I think it's because of the silks, because this is the attic conversion, so this is something that Jean has done. So instead of a dull grey, the bird is almost like a lilac-y purple, and the centre of the carnation there is quite lilac. You can't see so much on here, but the red and white on this fabulous picture, this Plus Legacy, it's just popping. It's beautiful. So I couldn't be more pleased with this, and I love stitching on Legacy. I think it's, you know, underrated because there's so many other brands now that people don't really use Picture This Plus so much anymore. But I do love it, and I've got a fair bit of that in my stash. And my favourite of all is Wren, because it's got a hint of grey. Okay, what did I do next? Well, then I moved on because I was feeling a bit more patriotic stitching. So I moved on. This one is in my first bag I ever made, actually, and I'm really pleased with the piecing of this, but the zip could do with improvement. But it's got a lovely sort of strawberry stripe on the back. Oh, and my Laurie Holt zipper pull. Absolutely love anything Laurie. So then I moved on. I said I was going to try and come back to the Big Blue House Pin Keep Drum by Stacy Nash. I think you should always have something by Stacy on the go. I didn't realise how massive this is. It's actually 7 inches diameter. And when I measured mine, it is exactly 7 inches. So let me show you the threads first. Actually, there's 2 projects in here, so I need to show you something else. Yeah, these are the threads. So lovely colours, but the blue I'm going to have to raid from another project because it's not in my stash, which means it must be in a project somewhere else, because I track everything in Excel and I know I've got more blue corn. It's the perfect blue. Love, love. That's classic Colourworks blue corn, and this is what it looks like. So I've finished the top, and when I measured it is exactly 7 inches. I think last time I'd started to put some of the, are these swans or geese? I'm not sure. They look a bit like swans at a distance. So the house is done, the goat, this crazy goat, the birds, the beautiful flowers, and the bunting. You know, I did that, I tell you, was not for the faint-hearted. I had to give this fabric an iron because it was really, really creased. This is R&R Barb's Blend, isn't it? And that's 36 count. So it's harder to make it look neat, but it came out really well. And thank you for all your comments, by the way, on using interfacing to strengthen this. Absolutely. I have done that before on some stitching, and I think it's going to be needed because this R&R is a very quite flimsy one that I think will need strengthening. So then I started a little bit on the, well, I'll hold it up. Not a little bit, look, it's absolutely massive. To go around a 7-inch drum, it looks scruffy, but it's going to be really, really lovely. So I've done all the green, and I've done the red. Oh, I've forgotten what this red is. It's campfire, isn't it? That's what it is. It's a lovely, it looks wrong when you see it on the Classic Colourworks. Again, I'm running low. It looks very, very sort of like a rusty orange red, but it just so works on the grey with blue corn. Look at that, fabulous. So I've got a long way to go on this, but it's going away now for next year because I can't work on more patriotic pieces. It's just, you know, I'm not feeling it at the moment now. Patriotic's gone. So yeah, right, that's plans. So then what did I stitch? Well, after that, after my last video, I was contacted by Nikki Franklin at the Stitchery. Her sister, Sarah, who I've met because they've got the most gorgeous little shop there. It's like a little sort of, if you're a child and you go into the sweet shop and everything's in jars, you know, the penny sweets, it's a bit like that. Everything in there is just fabulous and you want one of everything. So she's got glass jars of the pearl cottons, all of the DMC threads. She's got fat quarter bundles of only very tasteful fabric like the French Generals, and all of her charts, of course, which are just beautifully, they're kits, they're packaged and they're tied up with silk ribbon. I can give you an example of, this is one of the new kits, you know, quality thick cardboard with a little bit of background about Nikki on the back. The way it's tied with a little ribbon, and then inside will be all the threads, and I mean, beautifully photographed. She has professional photography, obviously. And so anyway, I met Sarah because I was in the shop and having a field day, you know, one of everything. And little baskets as you go in, the cutest things. And she's just branched out, Sarah, sister Sarah, into little cross-stitch kits. And some of them are based on Nikki's embroidery designs. And so a few of the Christmas ones, for example. And they're very small and simple. In fact, I think children could really have a go at them. But she's had this new range called, she's just done her very first one from the Heirloom collection. And she contacted me after my last video because I am such a big fan and supporter of their products. And she said, Sian, would you like to try it? And I would love for you to stitch it up and see, you know, what you think. So this is called the Cherry Garden Sampler or Sewing Pouch. And I will be making it into a sewing pouch. So she sent me the kit with the fabulous Weeks dyework threads that we know and love so well. And she sent me Desert Taipan, which is, of course, the Fox and Rabbit linen that I absolutely love, 40 count, that I'm using for my Hawk Run Hollow, the Christmas one. It's got a slight apricot-y view. These are the tinge. These are the threads, really muted, fabulous threads. The yellowish one is called Chickpea. I don't know if I've used that very much before. The blue is Dolphin. The red is Lancaster Red, and the pink is Red Pear. So very much Stacy Nash type colours. So beautiful. So they arrived, the chart and the linen, and so I got busy, and I actually finished this morning the stitching. It's not very big. I can't remember the stitch count now, but it really isn't very big. It's quite fiddly in that it was very stop-starty. So this morning I put the rabbits in at the bottom. There's little blue butterflies, 2 little dogs. These are in oilcloth. And of course the cherries at the side in Lancaster Red, and the taupe ribbon at the top. So pretty. But what I was really excited about was she sent me a vintage button, a little bit of ribbon to finish. So this is going to challenge me because, you know, I'm not an expert sewer by any means. And she sent me the French General fabric. Look at this. Love, love, love. So that will be the lining for the little bag, and it'll be like almost like a little clutch bag, a handbag. So I'm going to follow the instructions, and fingers crossed I can do it justice, and then make a post on Instagram, which I've started to do again. So please come and have a look over on Instagram and make friends with me. And I'm going to be posting my finishes as they go along on Insta and get a bit better. So I think that's all the stitching that I've done in terms of cross stitch. And then I'm going to tell you about my plans. So for my plans next month, well, first of all, the weather's been so bad here. There are 2 things that you can do. You can let it get you down, or you can book a foreign holiday to get some sunshine guaranteed, which is what I've done. So on Monday, I'm taking, me and my 3 daughters are going off to Santorini in Greece. You know, I've been to Greece before in May, but only for, I think we only went for 5 nights, and that's what we're doing again. So instead of having one sort of longer summer holiday, I'm being mindful and having 2 5 nights. I think that's fair, don't you? So we're going to Santorini, and we're going to a place called Hector's Cave. And what it is, it's like the side of the cliff it's spelled O-I-A, Oya, but you pronounce it E-R. And it's a steep cliff, and the caves sort of hang on the side. So the cruise ships come past at sunset and have a look at the cliffs and all the caves set in them. So we're actually staying in one of those. They're not big enough to have your own like long pool. You have to have a plunge pool because you're literally hanging on the side of the cliff. So I cannot wait. Everything's going to be thick walled and whitewashed. And I've got a horrible feeling we're going to be proper Brits abroad, you know, behaving badly, probably having long boozy lunch times. And why not? Because we've had no summer here. It's just not going to happen. So it's defeatist. There are 2 things you can do: book a holiday or go crazy and stitch more and more things. So in terms of plans, next month I definitely won't be able to stitch quite as much as I have this month, because I do think I got a lot done. But I would be very keen to come back to this. So you'll remember I finished the top of this. This is Stacy Nash, Strawberry Cottage. Oh, look how beautiful that is. And now I've got to go inside before we can make the sewing patch, the sewing roll. I need to make the cross stitch piece to go inside to make the roll. So I don't think it would take too long, but it's a psychological thing that I need to get back to it. So that's in my plan for the next month before I come back to you in August with all the lovely finishing materials provided. Then my next plan is my Whipgo project, which was called for this month. Oh, and I'm so excited to get back to this. This is in my lovely project bag, again by Val. I think you call this fabric Accufactum, something like that. I think it's kind of Nordic. Look at the children there with the sheep. It's quite a wintry one, isn't it? Again, with one of my zipper pulls by Chapel View Crafts. Love, love, love. This is on 40 count. Picture This Plus Legacy, which, as you know, I love. And this, oh, this was the first needle minder I ever bought. Isn't it lovely? Remember the other one, which is one big Battenberg. This has got, look, it's got a jammy dodger. It's got a little Victoria sponge cake slice and a mini, just want to eat that. I do love Battenberg cake. I love anything with almonds. And I think I've showed you before, haven't I, the pins? Oh gosh, look at that. Fair play, my phone doesn't mind focusing, it's pretty good. And the lemon, look at the lemon sponge. Just want to eat them. Right, so that's the project bag. These are the threads. My little zipper with my little ring bling on there. So from that, maybe you can guess the project. Well, if I show you this, you'll definitely be able to guess what was called, because it's the only project I own, and I've got a lot, I think, that uses lettuce leaf. I know Celeste Creates will know straight away. Right, so I'll stop winding you up and show you. It's Manor at Quaker Hill by Brenda. Started this quite a while ago. I never ever get time to go back to my old projects. So this I had to iron. I've got some progress. The thing is, you forget how far you got when you put things away for another year. And this is how far I got. So I've done quite a bit of the border. So you can see the width of it. Look at the colours. Oh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. Yeah, Manor at Quaker Hill. Really beautiful. The colours are just gorgeous. So I'm very excited. So that's in my plans for next month. I'll be getting back to that. And then my new start that was called, oh, you guys, I can't believe this. This was still in the plastic bag. So I've only just opened this, tied with a ribbon. These are the colours. Antique Rose, Rose Garden, and Colonial Rose. Absolutely gorgeous pinks. And all the muted greens and beiges. Oh, it's just fabulous. This is in a little project bag that I made from a panel I bought for the Pride and Prejudice range. I can't remember which one. Could have been Home, or it could have been, what's the other one? Pemberley, something like. So this is a brand new start. Blackbird Designs, gifts of the season that we were given by Alma at the Attic Autumn of Abundance Retreat in October 2023. I have a photograph somewhere. So when I start this, I will, and come back to you in August, I promise, fish out the photograph of us at the Attic. I think I've got a photo just of me with Alma. Can't believe it. She was just such a special person, just so lovely. Everyone wanted to spend time with her. So this is what it's called, Gift of the Season. This sampler is based on a piece done in 1825 by Jane Forms. Her sampler measures about 15 inches square. She stitched a tiny pink house on a green rise of grass at the bottom of her linen. Looming behind the house is a vast yard of all sorts of flowering plants, trees, animals and birds. Abundant life and beauty certainly surround her home. Her sampler was purchased from Great Britain, and sadly I don't have any more information about her. Her pattern and choice of floss colours is very appealing. There's some satin stitch in this. Let me show you here. The little motifs here, which will be fun. I love satin stitch. And who doesn't love a pink house in those colours? Can't wait. So it's very Blackbird looking, isn't it? And look at this. Oh gosh, that is precious. To Sean, for Sean, wonderful to spend time with you. Hope to see you again soon. Fondly, Alma Allen, 2023. I mean, there are some things you just can't put a price on, and that is one of those special memories. When I opened it up and saw, you know, that Alma had signed it, and I sort of squirreled it away exactly for that reason, that one day I'd open it again and see that. So this is on 36 count. Picture this plus vellum, which is a lovely, lovely creamy sort of fawny colour fabric. Really pretty. So it's not velt, it's vellum, which is the paler of them, and it's got a needle, it's got the vintage pom-pom trim, because there are two little smalls with this. If I show you, we've got, I haven't taken this one out of the plastic, the World Around, which is a little, what do you call them, paperweight, made into a glass paperweight, and then a special little pillow commemorating the attic and Jean. Just lovely. So I think we've got the finishing pom-poms is for the little pillow. So I really need to get on to this, and now it's been called. I can't wait to get started. It's a shame I'm going on holiday, but there we are. That's that. And then for fun, I thought as well, it might be nice if towards the last bit after my holiday, there's still a bit of July when I get back, I made a purchase actually. I bought this, so this is in my plans, and this is my new portfolio to hold the project that I hope to get a start on. Isn't this gorgeous? It's so much bigger than I realised online, which is perfect because you can actually get the full-size chart in it. It's got a lovely little elastic folder at the front. It's really padded and well made. And I think Barry would be proud of her, because this is a girl from Newcastle that made this, and she's called the Canny Little Fox. And I can't tell you how reasonably priced this portfolio is. And look, when I show you how it's made, look at everything in there. It's got the thread bed with a fabulous little fleece, somewhere to hang your scissors, all the little pockets. Oh, it's just got everything. And it's got, you think, yeah, there's the pockets, 3 little pockets here. And then over on this side, you've got plenty to hold your fabric. And I've put in this, which I thought I'd like to get a start on for the end of the month, because it'll still be Jolly July or Christmas in July. And is it Michelle Rhea from Australia who has got, I think she is inspired by Michelle, and she posted this yesterday, and I contacted her and said, you won't believe this, but I'm trying to kit this up as we speak, ready to get ready for my Flosstube. So this is about by Annie B's Folk Art, who's a lovely lady that messaged me after my first Flosstube to say, enjoyed it, you know, welcome to the Floss Stitch community. And these little stockings, I think they're so sweet. I might actually make them as stockings, because I've made a few of the Blackbird stockings in the past, the monthly ones. I've done the June one, which is the honeysuckle for Harriet, a couple of years ago, and I've done the February, 2 of the February ones, because Sophie and Topsy are February babies. And what I like to do then is inside put a lipstick, or, you know, you could put anything small like that, a nice little lippy and some birthday money or something. And I thought, you know, I might actually make the stockings and put the little, the sweetie candy canes inside. I don't know, maybe that's a step too far. But I do want to ask your opinion, because this will be the size, and this includes the 1/4 inch around the edge. So I'm torn between the fabrics. This is my favorite. This is fabulous Weeks linen in the most gorgeous charcoal grey. So this is called gunmetal and it's a 35 count, but I don't think I've got enough for 12. I know I haven't because I did all the measuring yesterday. I need to pin 12 of those onto the fabric and I know I can only get 9 out of this. I mean, I am tight. I will literally cram them on there. So I've got a feeling I'm going to have to switch and use this, which I bought. This is 36 count magical grey. It just feels stiffer. It might be good actually for making stockings to have a stiffer fabric, because I'm not convinced this is the Zweigart base actually. But I just much prefer the charcoal colour to this one's got a sort of purpley grey tint. It looks all right on the camera. And I've got enough to do the 12 and then, you know, bin the rest because I'm not keen on it. And keep this for something else. Let me know if you think the magical grey is okay. It's a bit purpley for me, but okay. Anyway, so that's in my plans for the end of July, just to show some jolly July spirit and stitch along with everyone else, because everyone seems to be having a lot of fun with that. So that's my progress for cross stitch, and that's my plans for cross stitch. And then I'm going to show you what else I've been up to. Oh my gosh, I absolutely can't believe the finish for last month. I say this every month. You'll remember last time I showed you peonies, didn't I? And they were absolutely stunning. And thank you so much for your kind comments, because everyone was, you know, so positive about it. But I think this month is better again. This was called the Victorian Rose Basket. And it was based on the old things that Nikki used to find, you know, in the antique fairs and in the brocants. And it doesn't do it justice really, although that is a pretty good picture. This. Look at the texture. Can you see that? Now, don't get me wrong, these are bullion knots. I love doing them now, but I think they are the hardest thing for me. They are a challenge, but they're like little slugs, and you have to make so many twists on the needle that they will sit down like a caterpillar instead of straight. So you make them curl on themselves, and it gives, and once you get going, oh, it's so mindful and addictive. So this is, honestly, I don't mind that it's been chucking it with rain here every day. It's enough to drive you to drink or bullion knots. And I've just sort of gone into myself and found a lot of pleasure just stitching. This took ages as well. The pale green satin stitch ribbon around the edge. Just got to go slowly with the right needle. That's all it is. It's all about the tools. And then look at the basket. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just so easy. But it's how you make the individual stitches pile up on each other to get the effect. Can you see the bullion knots to make the little tiny little roses here? The rosebuds. Oh, it's just perfect. She's so clever, Nikki, is everything she does. So I love it. Don't know how I'm going to finish it. I'm going to do all 12 and then think, am I going to put them in a book? I've got so many of these done. I'm not minded to put them in the hoops and, you know. So that was for May, because we're always a month behind with these. They come at the end of the month. So I did that in June. And wait till you see what we've got for this month. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it so much, as Steph would say. Hydrangea bouquet. So it couldn't be more different. It's all the blues this time. Oh gosh, I love hydrangeas. I've got, my garden is new. It's been completely and utterly razed to the ground and renovated. And the hydrangeas are in flower. I might try and take some pictures actually. Have you seen Stitching with the Housewives? Have you seen their garden tours? those girls are so talented. I mean, not just Priscilla, but the both of them, because I just can't get over their garden. They're pretty much self-sufficient with the vegetables that they're growing. I digress. My garden's not like that at all. It's very small, but the planting is beautiful because it's all new, so it's not overgrown yet. So these are the threads, all the pretty blues. They're like a periwinkle blue, aren't they? They're like a more of a hint of purple. Yeah, bordering on that sort of lavender periwinkle and the creams, and then of course some muted greens. Oh, just everything about these kits is fabulous, and some gorgeous vintage. This will be from France, slubby linen, you know, really lovely old slubby linen that's been boil washed. And as you're stitching, you just think of the history of that, you know. Who's been using that in France in times gone by? I love France. I go to France every summer. Love the food. Love the fact the country's empty, that you can be on a road, on an old Roman road, and, you know, you can see for 10 miles ahead and there won't be another car on the road. Not like in Britain. Yeah, so it comes in this lovely pack, and this is just such a joy to receive in the post. It's happy mail. Everything about it's happy. So that's what I'll be doing in my plans as well. And then there was an extra special thing that the Stitchery did on Sunday, just gone. And actually the weather here, it was just torrential rain. So it was great. On Sunday, I went to Strawberry Sunday, and I paid to not only have the booklet that the Stitchery released, well, I paid for the PDF and the tutorials online so I could have the videos, and there were 5 or 6 videos, and it was all about the strawberry post. There were 5 projects in here. 2 were cross stitch. 1 was hand sewing, how to make your own velvet strawberry, and the other 2 were embroidery. 1 was a slow stitch project, which I'm not that patient with slow stitching, but it's very effective. I thoroughly recommend this. I don't know how long this is open for online. It's at the Stitchery, and it's the strawberry post called Strawberry Sunday. So I think you can still join up and subscribe for the videos. Her tutorials are amazing. Like, I made this, wait till you see it. Honestly, I got the quilting foot out on my sewing machine and finished this. To go around the edge, so close to the edge, like, it's not even 1/8 of an inch around the edge, and it just gives it that finish. But look at the strawberries. And again, it's just so clever. It's the most basic long and short stitch, just filling in. You don't need a light or a lamp. It was designed to be done out the garden, fat chance. But, you know, with your family, little bit of satin stitch. It's just so effective. And for the first time, actually, Nikki used the Weeks overdyes, which was so pretty. So we got, I think it's Schneckley is the yellow seeds, and Lancaster red, and kudzu is the variegated green, which I thought, you can't see it here, but in real life it's very variegated, so it gives this, it really does look like a strawberry leaf. Anyway, so that was the embroidery, and it doesn't look, you know, it's so quick to do. It took me 2 days, I think. And then I lined it with this fabulous Brenda Riddle. I love Brenda Riddle. I've got a lot of jelly rolls by Brenda. This one is called Grace, and it's the pink and blues, but I've also got Dover, which is the limes and turquoise range. And I've got a Chapel View Craft strawberry cake pin. I mean, you know, and people say, oh, but it's just curled up. Yeah, but you know, I know how precious that is, with a little bit of French crochet lace and it's rolled up. It actually will sit here, which I will show you in a minute. So that was the strawberry post. I also ordered some cotton. It's not quite as tomatoey, it's more strawberry, I promise. I ordered some velvet so I can have a go at following Nikki's tutorial on how to make something like this. Now, I bought this on the back of Nikki's strawberry post. She's got a very dangerous page about shopping online for strawberry themes for Strawberry Sunday. And of course, I went straight online as soon as I saw it to Suzanne Curtis. For anyone in Britain, she's a textile artist. She makes the most fabulous velvet mushrooms and like little pixie nests and things. But I try to control myself and just go on for the strawberry. Look at the velvet strawberry with a silk top and a little key, and very reasonably priced when you think this was handmade, and tiny little, probably Mill Hill seed beads in gold. I've got loads of Mill Hill beads like this. So from my Angel of Spring by Lavender and Lace, which I did 20 years ago, but I never throw anything away. Well, except the actual sampler was thrown away. I'm not sure what happened to her, but she was in the garage, you know, and then 5 years later she was gone. So she went on a skip for sure, but we won't talk about that. And anyway, I wouldn't hang her in my house now. It was something I did before I had children in my 20s, and I love doing it, but for me it's more about the process. I'm not going to cry over a lost sampler. But look at that, isn't that adorable? So yeah, and I think Suzanne's going to be, I'm sure she's sold out now, but she's going to be making more. And I put a post on Instagram of this, and I was so sorry I didn't tag her. I did have to apologise, and she was very sweet about it. I just was so focused on stitching, I forgot to mention the staging for the photograph. And then one other strawberry that I was a bit naughty and did purchase recently. This is from Homespun with Love. She's called Sue Phillips. I've been to one of her workshops with Nikki. They work closely together, and she makes things in her little, it's not Etsy, but if you go onto Homespun with Love on Instagram, she's got one of those Linktree type shops, and everything's handmade, and when it's gone, it's gone. Let me show you something else, for example, I've got from, oh, well, these bears, the little bears, I think they're filled with split peas, and they're just very tactile and lovely, lovely pincushion. You can buy these. I know they're on a website. Well, they were recently. And I went on. Now, this is from an American quilt, very, very damaged. It was hung up. There was a story about it in her shop. Very old, vintage quilt in some sort of museum, but not protected properly. And it's very damaged. So what she's done is saved it, backed it, and tried to strengthen it, and then made it into these beautiful old strawberries with a top and an old button. I mean, there's a story behind this as well, which is why I love Sue's things so much. I've got, at Christmas, I'll do a Christmas tour, and I've got some lovely decorations that she makes from dried oranges, and she goes out into the woods and collects, you know, fruit berries and things and dries them. And they're just precious. So this is by Sue from Homespun with Love. So that was my strawberry Sunday. I had the best time, and I'm sure you'll agree that it's just so effective, the strawberries made into a needle roll. So that's my embroidery for the month. I did do a lot of quilting. I don't know how I'm going to show this, but I'll have a go, because last time I did show the quilt, and Everyone was very kind about it. So let me have a go at trying to show you this quilt. Okay, remember I was doing the Laurie Holt Hometown with the Hometown range of fabric by Riley Blake. And what I did was I did the sashing. Now, excuse the edges because it is frayed, because, you know, that'll all be hidden now in the binding. Oh, the stars were aligned because everything lined up perfectly, and I managed to do all of the sashing between these tiny 5.5-inch blocks and between the big 14.5 blocks, and everything went like clockwork. It must be the cutting, or maybe it's using the same 1/4-inch foot on your machine. So I'll just quickly talk you through the blocks. I know I'm coming up 55 minutes, so I've talked way too much. Maybe I've had too much this month to do because the weather's been so bad. So this first block, oh look, this is one of my favourites. It's called the Beehive block. And where she's so clever is that this is pieced. So all the different gold fabrics you sew together, and then you make the shape at the end, so it's a multicoloured. Oh, just the work in that alone, you know, it's a couple of hours. Just the beehive. That's the Beehive block. I won't put the beads on the antennae until, or on the doors, by the way, until it's been long arm quilted. I'm waiting for her to reply to me, actually. She must be on holiday. This, I go to Lulu Rue in Monmouth. She's brilliant. She's probably at the Festival of Quilts because she's really excellent. This is called the Topiary House. All these tiny little strips of bias tape that you make and cut and turn the ends under and applique down. I've hand appliqued all of this. Every window. Honestly, I made my fingers bleed. This is the tea house, possibly teacup house. Look at I've got to put buttons on the flowers. This has been hand sewn on the tea bag. You know, the tea bag paper. Oh, look at this. The bluebird, the birdhouse. Look at the trees. Lollipop trees. And the little hedges. All of this is from her shapes. And then you've got all these tiny little piece blocks running along the top. So they're in between each of the rows. I don't know how I'm going to show this now. So the next row of houses, oh, look at this, the flag. I think I showed you that last time, didn't I? Because it was coming up 4th of July. I'll fold it in half, that's what I'll do. Then we got the cherry house. Then we got the firework house. And again, these are pieced squares, tiny, tiny, and then you turn them inside out and make a circle with them. Such fun. Honestly, such fun. And then the sunflower house. Then another row of 10 piece blocks, entirely different fabric colours. And then we'll go down for the bottom row. Oh, trying not to fray this. Oh, look at that, strawberry block. Love, love, love. Again, hours of work in the strawberries and the tops and the bias tape, making them curl. You know, you have to try and make them curve. Sheep house. We love our sheep. Oh, and this is a different tree because it's triangles. Tulip house block. Oh, let me get this. And then the last, the pineapple for a warm welcome. Laurie always does a pineapple. Oh, speaking of Laurie, have you seen, and the last piece block on the bottom, have you seen her new house tour of her attic? Oh, and Chrissy from Crosshatch Quilts has slept in that room. And Oh, it's the most precious thing. The only thing that I don't do is, because I do knit, and that's for another day, I don't crochet. So, but I, you know, when I see Laurie's crochet room, she's got an entire room just of crochet. You know, it makes you want to get out all the crochet. My granny was a brilliant crocheter, and everything I've learned on my hand singer sewing machine, you know, how to knit when I was a child. My granny taught me to knit. I was very, very small. Everything I learnt from my mum and my gran, I don't have them. I miss them terribly. And yet, in a funny way, I do feel very close to them. You know, there's not a day goes by and I'm stitching and I don't think of my mum, you know. But there we are. So, oh, and then I'll just quickly show you the last bits for the quilt. So at some point I will be making the binding in this beautiful sea glass colour to go with the backing. So this is one of the wide backs, the 108, can't remember what it's called, but it's all in my book, because you know I keep the It's So Emma quilt book. So I've got the details of what this is called. It's the wide back. There's enough there, so you just take this with your quilt top up to Lulu Joe, and then I'll buy my wadding from her. She'll use the backing, do it all for me, and then when I bring it home, I will put the sea glass vintage trim and do my own hand sew on the I've talked too long now, my memory's gone. The binding, which is, I really enjoy having the weight of the quilt on me, because it's so cold here, you know. I could do it in August probably, and stitch that down, you know, when you're watching an old film or something. So yeah. Oh, and then I've got the panel, one of Laurie's labels. There's lots to choose from, and I thought that might look quite nice. I might hand stitch that on at the end. So, oh, the room is in total chaos now. And one last thing, I haven't shared my tier tray. Let me do that quickly. Yeah, I won't normally have as much as this because I don't normally stitch this much, and certainly I wouldn't have a quilt top like that to show you. Normally I would just have one little block. So I'll show you my tray now. So this time I'm going to share with you some previous finishes that I've done a while ago. Let me show you my lovely dough bowl. I did actually put a picture of this on Instagram when I did it. I made these, I've forgotten what they're called now. With Thy Needle and Thread, you know the one, you know the book. It was the first time everyone scrambled for the DMC number 22. I made the Keeper of the Pins, beautiful book. And the minute it came out, I'm pretty sure I got it from Peakside, and the minute it arrived, I started on them, and I didn't stop until they were done. And I took them out of the garden and I took a little video of them, and they looked great. And I finished these in May 22. I want to say they're over 2 years old, and you can tell because they have faded terribly, because I keep them up here, and I've got a conservatory roof. This is my old office when I used to work. And so they have faded, but I love them for that, because you know when you buy the tomatoes, they're bright red and a bit like, you know, new, and it's obvious you've just bought them. I much prefer them when they get a lot of sun damage and they become sort of, well, just vintage looking, you know. That's the damage you get in my conservatory. I have to keep using my moisturiser. And so I'll show you the finishes. These are Keeper of the Pins with the I've forgotten what this it's so tomato or something like that. Yeah, with the tomato fabric backing, which I thought was quite cute for these, because they are a lot of fun. My soul is fed with needle and thread. So true, so true. Oh, that's my favourite. I think you could make that into a little purse for a lovely gift. And this one. Oh, and a lovely little pin. Just Another Button Company, is it? I've forgotten now who makes those, but so cute because the pin is exactly the same as the little beads that you use here. And where's the one with all the buttons on? Here. Oh, this is lovely. A bit dusty. It's a variety of different sort of vintage pins that I sewed on there out of my collection. I didn't put rip wrap around all of them. I thought sometimes less is more when you've got beads and things and it's going to be out, you know. So I did 2 with and 3 without, and they sit in here. And I always pop a little needle roll on the end. And this I made the year before. This was one of my very early pieces by Brenda. And I did this in May 21. And I know this because I had to look it up. I track all my finishes in Excel. And this is El Gendaire. Is it the French little needle roll? Yeah. And you just, it's 1/1 at the bottom. And you put your name here. And I just put giving my age away there. And I just lined it with some lovely Nordic, you know, gingham, is it? And some Lady Dot vintage twill tape that she sells that's ready grunched. I mean, you can buy this twill tape on a roll for next to nothing and dip your own in tea, but sometimes it's just nice to buy Lady Dot Creates. And then you even make the little, there's a name for that stitch and I've forgotten it, but she shows you how to make it. It's like a type of knitting almost with the thread to make the loop. So it's very cute. And yeah, again, you can't read it, but I know what's in there. And that gives me great joy, just having that rolled up and stuck on the end of my dough ball. So that's my dough ball that lives up here. And this will continue to get faded because I don't change that out really. And then one other thing, and that's this. This is one of my first, this was January 22, I finished this. And this is Antique Rooster by JBW. And Judy Whitman is one of the sweetest ladies. Do you know, when I was very young, I was still doing my PhD in Bath, so I was a student. I bought a couple of JBW the tiny little paper charts in a beautiful little stitch shop in Clifton in Bristol. And I used to spend a lot of my Saturdays wandering around Clifton and Bath because I lived in Bath. And my boyfriend always worked on the weekends. So I used to spend a lot of time shopping. And I must fish them out and show you because I don't know if you could still even find them. But that's how long I've known about Judy's charts and how cute they are. And when I asked her, where did you get these miniature tiny buttons? I mean, they are very small. Do you know what she did? She stuck them in a card and sent them to me. That is how kind Judy was when I was stuck years ago, 2 years ago. I was trying to finish this and I just loved this ever since I saw the Yankee Creek stitcher, Jerry Cardell, stitch this. I had to do it. And it's Schoolhouse Red by, I think it's Gentle Arts. It's one of my favourite reds and it's on 40 count. It was my first thing on 40 count that I did. And it wasn't easy because it's on just Zweigart flax. It's faded a lot. It looks like creamer here. It used to have more flex in it. And it was quite a rigid linen to get your needle through. So it was hard work, but I made mistakes, but I persisted and it's perfect now. And this was in the day when I used to frog and make it perfect. Now I would just make it work. And look at the tiny, tiny buttons. It's just very precious. So that stays up all the time in a really cheap frame. I pinned it myself, and yeah, I love it. So I think that's it. I've got one tiny other thing that I forgot to do earlier. I'm so sorry. I meant to mention it actually when I told you about the winner of the rose chart. After my last video, someone else very kindly reached out to me, and they were on Brenda and Laura's video, and they were so kind as well to say that they enjoyed my last Flosstube, because you're never sure whether the second one's going to be okay, but they enjoyed it and were so terribly kind to say that. But they showed these designers on their Flosstube. You might recognise this chart. So I was contacted by Sammy and Deborah, and I knew Debbie because I already follow her on Instagram, because she takes trips to France and goes around to all the old vintage brocants, etc., and brings things back, beautiful treasures like French tea cloths and tea towels and all the vintage linen, you know, very along the lines of the linen that I use for my embroidery. And I think she brings back glasses and possibly barware and things like that. I'm not sure. But I don't know what I've bought from her in the past, but I have. So when she contacted me after the last video to say, Sian, would you like to choose 2 charts off our website? And they're called Little Loops. So if you find littleloops.com, that is who Deborah and Sammy from the old Barn Stitching Company are. That they trade under Little Loops. So please go on their website and have a look, because I will be able to give 2 charts, PDFs, these are, I printed them off myself, so you'd have to print them off, and you would have to contact Sammy at Little Loops directly to claim your prize. But if you would be interested, 2 winners could choose a chart that they would like. Use the word barn, and please go and have a look at their website, because they're just starting up together and they've done a lot of work. This one, for example, that I chose, French Fancy, is actually based on a French sampler. So it's a reproduction that obviously Deborah has found, you know, at some vintage fair in France. How lovely. So there's history here. They've got, I think, new ones like this and old ones, old charts like this. So they've got a cute book as well of red samplers that you could go and have a look at. But that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again in a month and tell you all about my trip to Santorini with my girls. I can't wait to see them. I miss them so much. And have a good month and take care of yourselves, and happy stitching.